welcome to my cellar. I'm kind of the basement of our 1865 farmhouse in Ithaca, and I'm going to show you how I prepare canvas boards or linen boards. And what I have here is a piece of masonite that's cut to a 26 by 30 size. I have a variety of sizes, and I just go to a Home Depot to have them cut. Usually they'll cut them no problem. They're very happy to do it there. Occasionally you'll get somebody that doesn't want to do it, but usually they'll cut them for you, which is great. Sometimes they just do it. So it's an 1/8 inch thick piece of masonite, or a facsimile, some other brand. I forget what the brand is, but there's other companies that make the same kind of hardboard. And so the first thing that I did was sanded it lightly with light sandpaper. And the reason I'm doing that is to, it has kind of a slick surface, and I think it's coated with some kind of oil. And so it's just to take away the gloss. And then I wipe it off. I've already sanded it pretty well, but you don't have to do it too much, just lightly. And then I knock it a couple of times to knock off the dust. Okay, and then I have portrait grade linen. It's Claeson's linen is the brand. It's a Belgian linen, and this is it here. It's a wonderful fine weave portrait linen, and I suggest the unprimed for this purpose. But this is the primed version. It comes in two different kinds, with universal prime or oil prime, and I usually get the universal prime, which is acrylic, because I usually tone it with an acrylic undertone. I tint it or tone it with acrylic, so that's why I prefer the acrylic, and then I can paint on it pretty quickly. So I've cut a piece of the linen here to the size. It's about 2 inches bigger, and then I shake it well here to get all the pieces out of it. I'm just going to show you an example of one that went wrong, because I got all these little things in it, and I tried to, but that's what you don't want to get is, I'm not sure what it was, but I got something underneath it. Probably if I paint on it, wouldn't show up that much, but I'm not going to take the risk. But that's what you want to avoid, is to getting things underneath it. So I've got it cut, and then what I do is I put try to get all the stuff off of there. Then I just use wood glue and put a bunch of wood glue on it here, and then I'll go over this with water to kind of spread it around, so the whole surface has some kind of cover on it. But you want to try to get on the edges too, because that's usually where it tends to come up, but you can always fix it at the end. Okay, and then what I do is I just got some water here, and I just spread it around with water. That way it has some kind of adhesive over the whole surface there. And I guess the question is, why put linen on it? Why not just work right on the surface, which I do sometimes, but I like the linen on top of it. It's sort of like two surfaces. This is a sturdy background, and then the linen is a nice surface on top of it. Basically, I like the texture of the linen on top. Okay, it looks like I've got it pretty well around there. Then I just do another sort of once over with this. This is my own method. I guess other people might have their own method for doing that. Okay, so another shake here, and then try to get it on. Screw where it's cut so it's about 2 inches bigger than the surface of the board, and then starting in the middle, just kind of brush it out so you don't get any bumps or bubbles. And then while it's still wet, I go over it with gesso. This gesso's just about done, but I think it's enough to do what I need to do. But I water it down a lot, so the water kind of sinks through too, and it helps to glue it to the board underneath it. So it's thinned out, watered down quite a bit. And I guess any kind of gesso works. I'm not even sure what brand this is. There it is. Artist Loft, the same kind. It's the same kind that Chappé uses, but Liquitex is good. Sometimes I use Liquitex. And then I put about 3 coats of gesso, each one kind of thin, not this thin though, but each one is thinned down. And there's advantages and disadvantages to whether you work on board or on traditional canvas. And one of them is just the sturdiness of it, and they seem to fit in more types of frames, so a lot of frames aren't as thick as you want them to be for stretched canvas. Okay. That's pretty much it, except I usually go over it with my hand too to make sure I get the corners. But even if the corners come up, you can always lift it up at the end to put more gesso underneath of the edges. But the edges seem to be the one part that you want to try to get down. And the reason you want it to overlap, because it sometimes shrinks, because the water makes it shrink. So you want to have, it might be a little close there, but you want to have ideally at least an inch around. And then I just kind of go over it to make sure there's no bubbles in it. So voila, that's the, it's not patent or copyright. That's my method of preparing a linen board for painting. And I also work on stretched canvas, what you see in here in the background. This is a stretch canvas, and I usually use the primed linen for that. And like I said, they both have advantages and disadvantages to each. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it, and so that's my method of affixing linen to masonite for doing paintings. Thank you so much.